Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on KTV Primetime News. And if you're just joining us, we're streaming live or broadcast on our social media platforms on KTV Kenya, on Twitter, KTV_Kenya, on Twitter rather, and on Facebook, KTV Kenya. It's also live on YouTube at KTV Kenya Live. Now, time for the discussion. And just like the toss of a coin, the Kenyan political arena was deeply engrossed in the vetting of the nominated cabinet secretaries, and now it takes a paradigm shift. The shooting of the senior Pakistani investigative journalist Arshad Sharif has dominated this discourse and now opening the wounds on the extrajudicial killings in the country. The majority party on Kenya Kwanza government has also had a benchmarking meeting with the Communist Party of China. And what does this mean to our local politics? And that forms the basis of our discussion tonight. And joining me is Karan Ochieng Jr, who is a political analyst, and of course we have also Babu, who is a youth advocate. I say thank you so much, gentlemen, for dedicating your time for this discussion. And probably just to get the ball rolling, we'll start with you, Ochieng Wakili, now Junior. So I want you to tell us, today, the ruling party in the country, that is the Kenya Kwanza, which of course the majority are in the UDA today, held a meeting that was a benchmarking meeting with the Communist Party of China. And of course, looking at the politics in China and probably what we have in the country, do you think this benchmarking meeting, where do you see this leading us? I don't know, what's your opinion on this benchmarking meeting that they had today?
Thank you, Ken, for welcoming me once again. In my opinion, I think that if Communist Party of China can get its footing into Kenya, then that could be really worrying, because Communist Party of China has been accused of several things. They have been accused of muzzling voices, because as we can see, each general secretary of Communist Party comes with his ideologies. Yes. For example, in 2012, when Xi Jinping assumed office, he came with his ideology of socialism with Chinese traditions that has centralized power among his loyalists. So if you are not his loyalist, he does away with you. So if by any chance Communist Party of China can find its footing in Kenya, then that will be a really worrying trend. Yes.
All right. I don't know what Babu you think about now this Communist Party probably setting its foot into our local politics, because if they were benchmarking, there are high chances probably that they would want to borrow one or two things from this party, that like what we saw from Muthama, who was a member of the UDA party, saying that he really admires the CCP party, the strength and the structure of this party. How do we weigh into this matter?
Thank you so much, Bwana Kenneth. Once again, this is, I think, my second time gracing this studio. On the issue of Communism Party and the Kenya Kwanza, or rather the UDA affiliation. We know when Muthama talks, that's the UDA party talking, because he's actually the chairman of the party. Right. So when he talks of admiring the structure and the strength, there's no problem with admiring the structure, but now when you talk of strength, how does the Communism Party acquire strength? For you to have strength, it means there are certain things that you are doing that gives you strength. So if it's true that they admire the strength as well, then it means that they are buying the ideas or some stuff that they are doing, that the Communism parties are doing back in China. And as you all know that Communism Party, or the communisms, if it's given an opportunity to take part or covers the country, then we are going to lose a lot of things rather than what we shall have achieved. For instance, we've been enjoying freedom of speech, expression, freedom of association, but when communism, or even if you go to communism countries, for instance China itself, you will come to realize that there is no such. You don't talk, you don't criticize the government, you don't mention something that the government is doing wrong, you don't criticize the president. If you do that, then that will be a special case. So I think we up to now, we need to, as a country, we need to be very careful, and we need to come up and have a discussion on this, so that the Kenya Kwanza affiliation, so more so those who at the benchmarking, can tell us or explain to the public what was the discussion and what's the discussion around, and what are the things that they are looking forward to adopt from the CCP.
All right. Yes. Now, I don't know, Wakili, I'll get back to you on this, because now, as Ken Babu puts it, that the democracy of this country, in a way, is at risk, of course, of us probably losing some of the freedoms that we enjoy in this country. So, I don't know really, what is your take on this? What's the fate of this Kenyan democracy? Because what we've seen in the houses, because if they are to implement some of the things that are rather some of the policies of this Communist Party of China, it has to probably go through the legislation way in Parliament, that is in the National Assembly, and of course also in the Senate. And what you've seen is that the government of the day has most of the numbers in these houses. So what do you see as the fate of democracy in this country?
I think influential leaders should come out. Just like Babu has said, if Communist Party can find its way into our country, then there are so many things that we have fought for several years that are going to be lost. Like those freedoms and fundamental freedoms and rights will be lost. So it's contingent on legislators. They should not keep quiet there. Even if you are in the ruling party, I know they'll be advised, some of them will be advised to pass some of the policy proposals that will be brought to institutionalize some of the communist ideas. Yes. So I think it's contingent upon the MPs and the senators to see what's good for this country and what can make us lose some of the civil rights that we have gained over the years. Yeah.
Can allow me just add something into what my is saying. You know, it's high time that our leaders and our citizens and all of us as Kenyans step out and ask critical questions.
Right.
You know, the moment we keep silent, we shall wake up one day and find ourselves in the corner. You know, there's always a problem when the majority side is in the government, and like the situation that we have right now. If it goes through the parliament for the legislation, it is likely to pass. Then we are likely to abide the ideas of communism. And then who is going to suffer? Not mostly the people who pass the law, but the people on the ground who are not even in the parliament. So I think we need to come out and ask questions. If we don't have the opposition that can do this, then we as the country, as the citizens, we need to pose questions, and this thing before it goes to the parliament is need to be brought to us for public participation, so that we can also discuss and see if it's truly we need it. If it doesn't need it, we can live without it.
All right, and of course now that raises the question of bringing this government into speed, and of course constitutionally this is a role that is subjected to the opposition. The opposition are supposed to keep an oversight in what the government is doing. Are they doing the right thing? If they're not doing the right thing, of course they are supposed to be the whistleblowers. So what is the state of the opposition? Because we have seen when the president was in Kitui saying that we offered your son a job, that is Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, but he said that he wants to be in the opposition. And probably, when they say that they offered him a job, that was giving him a chance to be in the government. And when you're in the government, meaning you work with what probably the government wants. So Ken Babu, I don't know, still tell us. So in keeping this government, in keeping checks into the government, what is really the state of the opposition? Do they have the voice? Do they have the capacity to question the government and some of these policies and the initiative that they might be wanting for this country?
For the longest time we've had, I think in East Africa, Kenya has had the best serving opposition for the last around 10 years. But as it stands right now, we still don't have that strong opposition. The opposition has not come out strongly. But again, the issue of on the matter of President giving Kalonzo Musyoka, His Excellency, offering him a job to be in the government, and Kalonzo refusing or turning it down, I think he made a good decision, because it should not be an issue of an individual.
Right.
It should not be an issue of making an individual safe. It should be an issue or a discussion. A discussion should be around the people of the Kenya, the people of country, the entire nation. If Kalonzo decides to be safe and then leaves the entire Kamba nation and other parts of the country which are not in the government, then it means we are going to have issues. So as of now that Raila has not stepped out strongly to talk something since we were done with the election, I think Kalonzo is stepping up. We've seen him doing 1, 2, 3. He's trying to step up to keep the government in check, but up to now it has not come out clear. But I believe that with time, even Raila himself will come out, because you've had Ruto say this, President Ruto said this many times, not once, not twice, that he has an opportunity to accommodate everybody, apart from Raila Odinga.
All right, interesting. Now, I don't know, Wakili, the question, of course, now that comes to you is the position of Raila Amolo Odinga. He has contested this presidency, I think, for the longest time in the history of Kenya, and he's not been able to clinch this top seat in the country. Now, people have been asking questions, of course, now. Raila, who is now the opposition leader, has been silent on a lot of issues. And we saw the other day when the self-imposed General Miguna jetted back into the country, saying that now they'll be working on saving the country, saving the Luo nation, who have been have been loyalists to Raila Amolo Odinga. So what do you really see into this? What is the fate of Raila Odinga in his politics? Is it wise for him to be now vocal, to be to step up, because now there have been allegations that really is not up to speed with how vibrant he used to be, and now we've seen this one, people poking holes that probably Miguna should rise. You have seen people saying Kidero or any other politicians should rise from the Luo nation to take up from Raila Amolo Odinga. What do you make of anything of these things that are, of course, coming out?
I think like Babu has said, it's not about individual.
Right.
So I wouldn't like Raila to keep quiet, because if he keeps quiet, then there are some of the ills that will be committed by the government, and there will be no one to call them out. So, in my opinion, even if he's not planning to vie again, he should not keep quiet. He should stand out, because he has the influence to call out the government for the ills that the government is doing. We've heard Ruto saying, and his deputy, that they need to clean the mess first before the opposition can oversight them. But I think that's really worrying, because we don't know when will they finish this cleaning of the mess that they are saying. Because it's almost 100 days. Some of the promises that they gave Kenyans, they have not fulfilled them, and I'm not seeing them fulfilling them in the next even 200 days. So Raila should just speak out, not because he wants to vie in 2022, but he should just speak out just to save Kenyans from, maybe we can save from their folly, because some of them are regretting right now. On the matter of Kidero and Miguna being poised as the successors of Raila, I think everyone can do it in their own way, because Raila was not given that kingpin, the mantle of the kingpin among the Luos. And in my opinion, Luos do not need liberation, because I don't think if anyone gets coerced to support Raila Amolo Odinga, you have that free will to support Raila Amolo Odinga. Nobody coerces a Luo that you should support Raila Odinga. So Miguna should avoid these talks of, I'm going to save Luos. You are saving Luos from Odinga, is it? It's the Luos who have decided that they are supporting Raila. If tomorrow they decide that they are supporting you, then fine, we will support you. You should give us the reason as to why we should support you. You should not come here telling us that you want to liberate us, when you can't even tolerate those same people even in your social networking sites.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just add something to, let me just say something about that. I think on the issue of the government being kept at check, it is very wise that any government, it doesn't matter how good it can perform or how worse it can perform, but it is very wise that in any democratic country, all government should be kept at check, because nobody is perfect.
Right.
President Ruto just came into the office, barely 100 days yet to culminate.
Yes.
He has done 1-2, he has failed in 1-2, we have seen, but he needs to be kept at check, and he once said that the administration, the opposition should wake up and do their job, which is right. I think Raila team and Kalonzo team should step up and point out where the government is going wrong, so that things can be ironed out as early as possible, because it's for the interest of the country.
Right.
Not for the interest of the, no, it's not an individual fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, of course, another thing that maybe might be interesting as a youth advocate. Now, Ken Babu, I want you to tell us on this, because in the just newly formed government, the win was a very small margin in terms of percentage, meaning there is a lot of people that is drawing from all the age categories, from the youth to the adults and everyone, supporting probably the Kenya Kwanza, and of course almost half of those voters supporting the Azimio side. So for the youth who probably would want to make diligent, rather important and good steps in raising themselves politically, and some of them, of course, maybe half of the youth finding themselves who are supporting Wajakoya, some of them, of course, who are supporting the Azimio side. So how best should they position themselves in terms of rising in this political ladder? Should they also deviate, like we saw other leaders, of course, who are allied to the Azimio side going to the Kenya Kwanza side? That's where probably they might find their growth.
Well, thank you so much. As a youth advocate and somebody who is so much passionate about youth and youth in leadership and governance, and then in politics as well, what I would say is politics is all about loyalty.
Right.
And in politics, loyalty is rewarded more than anything. Identify your strength, identify a camp in which you can execute your strength, where you can get platforms and opportunities to deliver on your strength. Stick by that by that alliance, stick by that leader, work with him, work for him, do whatever it is you can do within your powers, and at the end of the day, I believe you will reap. We have as much as Raila has never been the government, we have young people who can stand today and say that because of Raila Odinga, I'm so and so. Because of Raila Odinga, I've risen up to this point.
Right.
And now that President Ruto made it to the government and is the president right now, there are those young people as well. And I have friends, most of them, who are now walking outside there proudly saying that we worked and we are receiving, or we are, enjoying the fruits of our efforts. So what I would like to say to tell young people outside there, identify your strength, identify a mentor who will empower you economically and mentor you strongly. Work with this leader, work by him and stick by him. One day you will sit back and say, truly, loyalty pays.
All right. And probably I'll consider that as a parting shot. I want to get to you, Wakili. Wakili, the question I have for you is, let us take it a bit of geopolitics. What we saw happening in the UK politics, the recent, of course, UK Prime Minister Liz Truss. She resigned out of this office, and of course during the campaign period she made a myriad of promises to the people, to the Tory, on how she's going to salvage the situation, the economic situation in the UK. And just the other day, of course, she announced her resignation. This, of course, probably is setting a precedence in terms of leadership. Is it anything near or close to our local politics, where a leader probably is saying that I might not be able to deliver to every promise that I made, and I should emulate what Liz Truss did in the UK?
Thank you. I think first, to talk about Liz Truss, she had ambitious plans that probably could not see the light, but now it reflects something in our politics. I don't know if we have reached that political maturity where our leaders can resign once they see that they cannot deliver.
Right.
I doubt if we have reached that maturity, but we can reach it. Because unfortunately in our country today, even if someone cannot deliver, they'll still cling to the seat. That's why you see some governors get impeached. Some may be impeached because of certain interests, but some are impeached because of their incompetency. And I think if we can reach such kind of political maturity, it can be good for our country.
All right.
Yes.
Interesting. Of course, that is something we'd want to see in the very near future, when leaders who are incompetent, or probably rather not incompetent, but they cannot deliver to the promises they made, they should just resign and do the honorable thing. Very interesting. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your input on this discussion. I will take a very short break. Shall be coming back with more. Stay with us.